Sage Wanderer here, coming at you from my van down by the river. Got a chance to watch both of the Democratic primary candidate debates, the double night event, dubbed by many as the Clown Fest or the Circus. And I will admit to not watching all of both of the debates because I kept falling asleep. Honestly, these people, they should go and take a public speaking class, many of them. I will say this. I was alarmed by the universal agreement on some of the most left-wing, far-left, progressive, socialist, communist ideologies that are just like, that's what they all agree on. Like, they're all on the same page. They may disagree about, what to do about it, but they're all on the same page that these left-wing ideas are the way to go. So I heard Kamala Harris basically claim she was coming for Americans' guns. If Kamala Harris gets elected as president, she's going to give Congress, she said 30 days or a fair amount of time, to come up with something to justify the confiscation of firearms from Americans and the clear violation of the Second Amendment. And if they were not prepared to do that, then, forget about the people who elected these people to represent them. Forget about the representative style of government that has defined our government from the very beginning. Forget all that. Kamala Harris is going to sign an executive order and come and get your guns, Mr. and Mrs. America. Are you ready for that? Like, that's not going to trigger a civil war they were already standing on the precipice of. I mean, we're right here at the face of civil war, and then one of the number one leading candidates for president comes forward and says, on day one, I'm coming for the guns. I just heard blah, 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 blah. I'm challenging American citizens to a civil war. Who's in? So disturbing. So alarming. I'll admit to going back and forth between falling asleep and waking up in an angry fit because what I heard them talking about while I was asleep. We have to defeat these people. We have to defeat them all. There's not one good candidate. A booty judge, what I don't know how to say this man's name, but I will say he's the only one that seemed like he had half of, like he was all there, like he seemed like a normal human being, to me, not to say his ideas were any better than theirs or any different. I mean, they just all agree that, they got to come after guns, that they're in favor of censorship. They want to prosecute hate speech. I mean, all these people are they all think alike. The only disagreement is on how to go about the change and what should happen next. The universal health care thing, about the only time I found myself nodding my head and kind of agreeing with them was when they talked about health care. I wasn't agreeing with them when they talked about their solutions for healthcare. I was agreeing with them when they were talking about how awful our healthcare system is here as far as, well, Kamala Harris got me nodding along when she was talking about, sitting in the emergency room parking lot with a kid with 102 fever, for several hours going, okay, do I take my kid in to the doctor and, potentially have to pay up to a $5,000 deductible? Hey, my deductible used to be like $500 for a visit or something. And it was just like, you end up, it's a huge expense. And so, the insurance system and the pharmaceutical system and the high-paid, ridiculously overcharging doctors and hospitals in this country need to be regulated, in my opinion. However, I don't think we need to disable the entire system and make this government welfare healthcare, because the government is not good. Well, look how they take care of our veterans. Like, if you want to know what healthcare in America will be like if the government is in charge of it completely, just look no further than the VA hospital. That's what you can expect it to be like. And everyone knows if you got a parent or a grandparent who is a vet and you have any other option like private insurance, you tend to go there instead of trying to go to the VA. Because, those things vary from decent health care to like ghetto hospitals. So, but so I was nodding along with when they're throwing our healthcare system under the bus, because I agree with them on that. I just don't agree that single payer is the way to go. I just don't agree that we should double down on Obamacare, because it's clearly broken. And because I'm a libertarian, I don't think you can really compel people to have health insurance. If young, reckless people don't want to pay for health insurance because they're probably not going to go to the doctor for the next 10 or 15 years unless they get hit by a truck, how can you force them to pay the way for older, sick people who go to the doctor all the time, or hypochondriacs who think that, if they have an itch or a sneeze or a cough or a moment of heartburn, that they have to run to the hospital immediately and get immediate medical intervention? So I'd be interested. One thing I like about having a primary like this is you really do get to hear all of the ideas. It makes me wish, I'm not saying people should run against Trump. I'm just saying that if we had a primary right now, we might get a feeling for the overall health, well-being, and temperature of the Republican Party. But we don't really have that access. You have it, you just have to look a little harder to find out. But the Democrats right now are kind of wearing it. Like, they are definitely, letting you know what the Democratic Party is all about. And it is all about progressive ideas, socialism, and communism, which includes censorship of anyone they don't agree with, total totalitarian control by corporations, and corporations and the government working hand in hand to suppress the speech of the people. They want to come confiscate your guns, because if you can't speak and you can't work things out and you can't talk things through, then your next step is violence, and they know that. It's human nature, so that's why they need to come get the guns. So when you get violent, all you can do is just like jump up and down and scream and throw a temper tantrum like a 2-year-old, and you really can't do anything to better your situation. This is how you become a slave. This is how you become a slave to communism. The most disturbing thing about the Democratic Party right now is every last one of them on that stage is a bona fide, dyed-in-the-will, communist, totalitarian, socialist nut job who is not based in reality. Just some wear it and others hide it, but it's the truth. I mean, they all agree. They pretty much all agree. They want to ban your rifle. They want to come for your guns. They want to tell you how many bullets you can have. They want you to store them in another place. And really, that's just all to make you feel better, because once they get all that, they're just going to take them away completely, because that's what this is all about, making unarmed slaves of the people. That's the most disturbing thing from all of that, is just that they all agree. It's gun control is their number one priority. That and on-demand abortion for every woman. And apparently, according to one, even trans women. Wow, can you believe that guy that said that? He used to run a city. He used to run San Antonio, Texas, I think, if it's the right guy, if I haven't got my people crossed up. That he said that free healthcare in America includes free abortions for every woman, even trans women. I don't know. Did I miss that biology class? I don't know. How does that work exactly? Is that a thing? Is men who transition into females then are becoming pregnant and in need of an abortion? I don't get that. What do you think about that one? So, yeah, all of them pretty much look like varying degrees of Nazis. I mean, communists, rather. And looking over there at them, it just looks like I'm watching the communist infiltration of another country. I just can't believe I'm looking at my America. And, the tech giants are suppressing the voice of the people with the full support of the Democratic Party. And these people want to break up, what's her name? Pokey, what's her name? The fake Indian lady, she wants to break up Google. But I think it's more about getting votes. I don't think she actually intends to do anything to Google. I think she's just trying to, because there are people in the Jimmy Dore kind of department, the there's a few people on the left that still believe in freedom, that still believe in freedom of speech and are not happy about censorship. And so maybe this was her way of drawing those people into her side a little bit, but I doubt she'll ever do anything about Google, and because she's not really referring to the speech. She's talking about the money and the giantness of it, and she's not making the freedom of speech the issue. So Elizabeth, what's her name? I know their names. I just don't like promoting them. And plus, if you say their names, it triggers the you-know-who, the little robot person that we won't talk about either. The alpha intellect, if you know what I'm saying. The all-inclusive, you know what I'm talking about? The aberrant intelligence. So, talking in code may be a thing in the future, you know? They weren't talking in code at the Democratic debates, man. There was no dog whistle there. They were just straight up telling their people. It's like, who can double down on the more hardcore left-wing, ideas? Who's the one that can really, like, oh, I'm going to one-up you about how totalitarian and controlling communist socialist I can be. And it's just like they act like we're not watching. Like we on the right aren't paying attention. Lord help us, how do we avoid what's coming? These people are so blind. Kamala Harris, do you actually think you can pass an executive order to seize firearms in this country? Cory Booker, do you think we care if you want to buy them from us? They're not for sale, okay? Just like the horse in Lonesome Dove isn't for sale, right? And if you try to take the horse that isn't for sale, you're liable to end up like that guy who tried to take that little blonde-haired boy's horse. And that old Texas Ranger did not like that. He was not going to let that happen. And there's a lot of us old grizzled cowboys and loggers and truckers and workers, agricultural workers, ordinary people, plumbers. We're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to let you take our country over into communism. We're not going to let you, Kamala Harris, come and take our guns. And if you think you can just nuke us, Mr. Swallowswell, well, just think the people that have the nukes are probably on our side, not yours, fancy pants. So I guess we'll see. But there used to be this old joke and how there was a guy that was driving a truck and I can't remember his friend's name, but he had a co-driver who was asleep in the back, right? I don't know, I'm messing this joke up, but wake up, Ralph, he ain't never seen a wreck like this one, was the punchline. I can't remember the joke, I just remember the punchline. Wake up, Ralph, he ain't never seen a wreck like this one. We're headed for a crash in this country because there is one side that just has embraced totalitarian control and they don't expect the other side to do anything but roll over and take it. And I think if you were watching, you noticed a whole bunch of people in Salem, Oregon yesterday in diesel trucks and tractors and four-wheel drives who let the Oregon government know we're not going to lay down and take it anymore. So I think we're headed for some problems in the future. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Do you think I'm wrong in characterizing both of those debates as one giant socialist communist mess and that there wasn't a moderate voice in the whole group? Except I think on the first night, I need to go do some more research on her, but on the first night, that one gal, what's her name? I can't remember her name. I should remember her name. There was one gal that was like, didn't have her head totally stuck up her exterior, posterior exit. You know what I mean? There was one, was one person that seemed to have their head screwed on straight. One lady. Was it the lady from Hawaii? I'm not sure. I got to remember these people's names. Honestly, I don't want to say their names. All right. We'll see you next time. Tell me what you think about all this in the comment section. And God save our republic. Ooh, we need your help, Lord. Save our republic.